for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call, area code 267-687-0026. And as always, we want to remind you that the Shop Report is now being powered by none other than the fine folks over at Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all of your digital marketing needs. You can look them up on Facebook at RDM Detroit. Once again, that's at RDM Detroit. Or you can go to their website, rocketdigital.net, ROCKIT digital.net, and tell them the BSJ sent you. Joining us on the program today is none other than my cat from the NYC, a.k.a. Rucker Park. Brother Rich, what's happening?
I'm good, sir. How are you? And how are those Dallas Cowboys coming? I mean, I know y'all took another one on the chin recently. But and by the way, have you checked on Dak?
First of all, you said y'all. First of all, if you say y'all, I'm not from Kentucky, nor Dallas, nor from the South. Okay, I'm a Northerner. Second of all, you saying y'all as in my team, again, for the umpteenth time, that is not my team. Now, if you'd have said something about the Miami Hurricanes, then you might have had yourself something. But I digressionize. And on the other side of the ledger, we got my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
It feels so good to be back.
That's it? That's all? No innuendos, no smack talk, no nothing. I'm going to need you to lay off the eggnog. You're starting kind of early, buddy. Talking about happy Thanksgiving. Anywho, hopefully my man from the CO on bus, D. Gully, will join us here shortly so he could also weigh in on some of this action we got today. But this first one comes to us.
He's watching Bill's highlights right now. So
well, I mean, that's not a bad thing, seeing how they won. They put up 44. He said he make it seem like it's a bad thing. You say he's watching the Bills highlights. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. My bad. I had to take that one. Steal that one, rather. This first one comes to us from the Major League, from MLS, Major League Soccer. But before we dive into the particulars of this particular topic, was that redundant? Sorry, my bad. I want to ask my co-host a question. Now, we've talked about soccer to some extent on the program a time or two before. But again, as always, when I'm doing research for show topics, I find a nugget or a tidbit that I think might be rather interesting. Okay, one of them did you know type of deals. So I see this article. The MLS is using points per game to determine playoff seeding. But when I want to ask, the question I want to ask to you, Brother Rich, first, you watch the first takes, the get-ups, the so on and so forth, the national talking heads, right? The national sports talking heads.
Yeah.
Have you heard them discussing what the MLS is doing in terms of this new format, if you would? Because I personally think this is rather interesting.
Absolutely not.
Oh. And I don't have to ask you why they haven't said anything, because they're too busy talking about the pomp and circumstance, right? The same stuff that they talked about. What?
Right.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh, okay, Double J, have you watched the programs, the nationals and the commercials, if you would? Have you heard them mention anything about what the MLS is doing in terms of this points per game and playoff seeding thing?
Unfortunately, I have not. They would be talking about paint drying, I feel, before this.
Oh, okay. And would you maybe elaborate a little bit on why you think that that's interesting? Now, just before you get into it, I just wanted to let the folks out there know that Brother Rich and Double J are, I call them soccer aficionados, but they may be a little bit more than that. If I think I know sports at all, these guys are to the 10th power when it comes to soccer. So this is in part why we're bringing this up and asking the question, why didn't the major heads have a discussion on this like we are? Okay. But would you elaborate, Double J, why you think it's interesting that the major networks haven't discussed this?
Well, for a few reasons. The first is that the manner in which they determined playoff seeding was, another lack of a better term, unprecedented. It's something we haven't seen before. And,
Thank you.
In truth,
hold it. Stop right there, Double J. Stop right there.
Stop
right there. Stop right there. I'm glad you said it that way. Because this is unprecedented and something we have not seen before, don't you think that will be a reason why it should be discussed? On the major platforms, if nothing else?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Continue. My bad. Go ahead. Continue.
Well, in just from an apples-to-apples comparison, the proposed expansion of the National Football League playoff schedule, upon, again, and it's a hypothetical, it's been approved, but some things via game cancellations would actually have to take place for that to come under, to be the reality. Mm-hmm. This is the reality, and yet cricket.
Exactly. Okay. So let me read to you all the article that I found. This is courtesy of USA Today Sports by Jacob Snyder. And the article is dated November 2nd, 2020, so it is relevant, people. Major League Soccer officially announced that 2020 playoff qualification will be determined by points per game rather than total match points accumulated throughout the season due to the implications that the pandemic has had on the league. Now, Brother Rich, I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to ask you, why is this such a big deal, points per game versus total match points accumulated?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because I want to go back to something you and Double J were talking about and just add my 1 cent to it, if you will.
Okay.
Here's what we have here, and I want to offer this to the listeners and to our panel. Look at soccer in America. Soccer in America is not a first-tier sport.
Got you.
Meanwhile, outside of America, soccer is the number one game in the world.
Got you.
All of which you see them experimenting with is to garner more interest in soccer. One of the knocks you hear about soccer with the American reluctance to understand the magnificence of the game is the low-scoring nature of the game. So they're encouraging teams to go more now towards scoring, because Americans have always wanted to speed up the game of soccer. And so that's why indoor soccer is such a big thing in America.
Okay.
The other thing that soccer on television has hindered the American population from receiving it is because soccer is not, ESPN has just started to carry soccer, but soccer is not given, quote unquote, prime time, ABC, NBC, the major networks.
Yeah, coverage.
ESPN, even though they are now bigging it up, they're not even carrying it like a big Sunday game, like we have an NBA game or a football game, because it's not conducive to commercial. So you have 45 minutes and then a half. And then 45 minutes, so you can only that's one of the major things about soccer. It's not American sports need breaks, regular breaks. That's why televised basketball matches have already programmed television commercial breaks. The teams already know. We don't have to call a timeout. We're going to get a timeout right here.
Okay. That's why they say a TV timeout.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have it in all the Americanized sports.
Gotcha.
They have not been able and are not able to do that in soccer. So that coupled with the fact that the American people just have been slow to grasping the skill of the game, because it's a very highly skilled game. So all of these are what's factoring into them changing the way that they've done it up to this point, all to hopefully garner more interest, get more eyeballs, and hopefully, because again, ESPN is going down the tube, which is what we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And so now they're finally putting on a slate of soccer matches and trying to really put the interest around soccer. So perhaps soccer will replace some of those soccer eyeballs will come in and replace the other eyeballs that have fallen off. But we can go into another subject at another time about why they've really fallen off, and it has to do with the fact that ESPN continues to support and back leagues that are not giving the American people what we really want to see. Because at the end of the day, why is sports falling in America? Why are eyeballs not watching the NFL, the NBA, the Major League Soccer? All it's because we have now all come to understand it's all about money. The competitive nature of things have been taken away, and so here's what we have: gimmicky things. We have gimmicky.
Got you. Yeah, and I'm so glad that you using that term or word gimmicky just brings back to mind my line about the game used to create the storyline. Now the storyline is creating the game. But let me hop back right quick. You mentioned commercial, and the TV commercials and such are appropriated, if you would, for the American sports landscape or the American game, and maybe not conducive for soccer. But let me ask you, now, in other parts of the world, soccer is the number one sport, as you just alluded to. So I'm sure in those other places, now I've watched enough soccer to tell you that I know it's big in the places like the UK. We all know about Brazil, Japan, places like that. But don't they have commercials in those countries too? You understand what I'm saying? Haven't those countries figured out a way to because they got sponsors and stuff. They're not just playing games, and people are watching those games on TV in them other countries, right? You get what I'm saying? So they figured out a way, just like Canada has figured out a way to give this a stimulus repeated until COVID is over, anyway, housing and medical for everybody. Again, I'm trying to.
That's a good one, Jay.
You get what you understand what I'm trying to say here?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, why America can't figure it out? Maybe is it they don't want to? You get what I'm saying?
Might be a hint.
Okay, got you. Got you. Let me read further, and then Double J, you can weigh in too. Hold on here. Let me read a little further. Multiple teams will not have played the same amount of matches as their opposition, and as a result, PPG will be used to determine who makes it and who does not. Double J, again, for all those who are just now joining us, if they're out there joining us, is that a great thing, a good thing, or a so-so thing, or a game changer for all of the sports?
Well, it's certainly it's a game changer under these circumstances. It may not work in all sports, hypothetically speaking, but for this sport in particular, it sets it up beautifully because to Brother Rich's point, not only about the pace of the game, but the action in scoring of the games. The same reason why years ago the NHL widened the net, which increased, again, the points per game. You used to get a 2-1 result. Now we're getting 7-4s, or in some cases it'll look like football scores in the first half. And under these circumstances, to be able to have this play-in tournament and ultimately just, again, a high-paced, high-scoring affair will, to Brother Rich's point as well, garner the attention of the public.
Okay, so then let me ask this question to both of you. And now, Double J, we'll stay with you, let you answer first, and then, Brother Rich, you could slide right in after him. I'm just going out on a limb here. Will penalty kicks be affected by this new points per game thing, or is that one has nothing to do with the other?
Well, it would have impacted it upon decision day because, again, prior to the playoffs being decided, or at least that group of teams making the cut, as so to speak, that would have been a big implication because ultimately here we're drawing a line in the sand and saying anyone north of it is in, anyone south of it is out. So if you were able to be the recipient of that, Well, naturally, as long as you take advantage of the opportunity, you're right where you want to be.
Okay, got you. Brother Rich, what are your thoughts on, the penalty kick thing? Or did Double J kind of answer it?
Well, I agree with what Double J is saying, because they are getting away with it in this particular scenario and setup.
Okay.
And I think they're also going for some of that energy that the NBA appeared to have and did have for when they had kind of the play-in. I think this is their opportunity to play on that whole play-in system and situation. Put a little quirk in there, and let's see how the teams react to that. And then we certainly, programs like ours are talking about it. We talk about soccer, and that's one of the great things about being on this platform. And I really do tell you that I tell you that off and on air, that I think that's one of the brilliant things that you're in this space doing with this program, is that you are speaking to audiences like that. And even our audience, the parts of our audience that don't know about soccer, they are going to be informed and be more informed than you should be informed, because it is the number one game on the planet, and it's becoming more and more a part of our landscape. Our children are playing it, and it will be more a part of what we do, regardless to whom or what, because you find everyone is coalescing around the idea of soccer. More NBA players are involved with soccer teams, investing in them. So it behooves us to know some of these things and what's really going on with this game, because we can't get away from what's happening in the world.
Got you. And I appreciate that. I try my best, man. I really do. Two more things, and then before we move on. This particular article was the spotlight. The team that was spotlighted for this particular article was the Minnesota United FC. And they're saying that for Minnesota United FC, PPG could be the reason they are awarded a home playoff game for the second straight season. Now, I don't know what happened last season, but why is that so significant for Minnesota United, Double J?
Well, home cooking is always a good thing,
yeah,
regardless of fans being in the stands or not.
Yeah.
However, under the circumstances, it did turn out to be that way. And for those that were not watching Decision Day, as they had coined it, it was something that I've really never seen before, because we were in election week and under the circumstances that we were watching how that took place and shape. It felt eerily similar in the sense that with each game happening simultaneously for the most part on that particular evening, you were watching teams and where they were destined to play in again, home versus away, all being decided in a matter of mere moments. It felt like there was a point in time while watching the LAFC Portland game when they were up 1-0. They were going to remain and ultimately play each other again. Then upon Portland tying it, all of a sudden it was Portland versus FC Dallas, and then you've seen Minnesota move up, and you watched LAFC going to play somebody else. I mean, it was something. It felt very March Madness like, but to the nth degree. It was far more exciting than I would argue I've ever seen before.
Because they also say here the Loons. Who are the Loons? I'm not familiar with them.
So that's still Minnesota United specifically.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh, okay, all right. So, okay. Okay, they said, the Loons, who had their second match in as many weeks, canceled Sunday evening, due to positive COVID-19 cases among team players, are in pole position for the final home match spot in the Western Conference. And they say the race for the fourth in the West has been close all season, but PPG has made it all the more contested. And that, again, which brings me back to the question, whether or not if this PPG thing will turn out to be bigger than soccer, Brother Rich.
I think that it will be because you heard the excitement in Double J's voice.
Yeah.
And he is a soccer fan as
Yeah.
well as an aficionado, knowing the game,
Yeah.
knowing it inside and out, knowing its principles, and to hear him talk about that, I
Yeah.
felt his excitement. And he was talking about one of my teams, LAFC. That's our team out here in LA.
Yeah.
So I happen to know about some of this, but listen to the energy that he brings with it as he brings it to our audience and brings it to us tonight.
Yeah.
So that we're excited about. He certainly makes me excited and makes the listening audience, it's something you want to see. So it definitely helps the game. It does. It helps. It helps the teams because, again, soccer, we don't pay attention to it. So even the players themselves are being given more incentive and something to play for. Remember Dame Lillard, this is why I compared it to the play-in in the NBA, in the bubble. Remember Dame Lillard said, man, I'm not coming out the bubble. I'm not coming out in COVID to go to no bubble and just play if I can't even go into playoffs. But if I know I got a chance, whatever that mechanism by which I could get that chance. So if it's
got you
points per game, if that's what we got to do, then that makes it more exciting. At least we got a chance. Absolutely, it helps the game. Absolutely.
I got you. That was.
I'm just gonna be the old man on the lawn saying, "Get off my lawn," because I like the old game the way it was and the way it is. I don't need no changes to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got you. But see, and then that was. I'm
now,
glad.
Jay, I want to throw this in there too.
Go ahead.
Remember, I drew it up as drawing a line in the sand when it came, because again, with points per game, it's no different than even if it were not just necessarily record based, but just points in general. If you end up in the situation where there's a tie, or this is where the median is, that's exactly what took place in the Eastern Conference. So while throughout this particular article that you're reading, it's mentioning and highlighting Minnesota United on the Western Conference's side, but what it has yet to mention is that ultimately 10 teams from the Eastern Conference made it in to that field that actually is limited to 8. So what you're going to end up seeing is, again, essentially a playoff or a play-in match, as well thrown in there. So there's going to be 2 games that take place beforehand to determine the final spot. So again, enormous amount of excitement behind this. Additionally, in the even going into that last game, regardless of where you were in the standings, you had something to play for, either to play spoiler or to room, because again, in these leagues, no different than any other league in sport, you get familiar with people, whether you like them or despise them. And on top of playing for the countless other reasons, you go into that final game knowing you can either prepare this team for success regarding your opponent, or prepare them for failure, or send them home. That gives you incentive.
Yeah, got you. Whereas in the other case before, it really didn't give incentive. That is.
Well, you can easily see. Look at the NFL. Look at where they reward failure in terms of a draft pick.
Oh, got you.
And the same could be said even in the MLS as well.
Don't talk about the Cowboys.
With that being said, when it came to that final match day, to be able to know, again, you can control, despite everything that's happened from the beginning of the season where they had the play-in tournament, which was incredibly exciting, all the way to the end here with the change in how the playoffs were determined, to be able to sit there and say, rather than pack it in, and where am I going on vacation tomorrow after I leave this room, and get off this pitch, I have something to actually play for, whether we were first or dead last.
Or dead last. Got you. That's a good deal. And again, to Brother Rich's point, and this is the last point I wanted to make. This is the one thing I wanted to bring out of all this discussion here about this particular topic today. How often have we discussed on this program change? whether something has changed for the better or not changed for the better or changed for the worse or however you want to put that. And to your point, Brother Rich, I'm with you. I'm of the old guard too. I've been saying it. Okay, I'm always about back in the day. All right, but I'm asking you all right now with this points PPG, the implementation of it. Is this not the type of change that could lend itself to something good? So you can say, yes, I'm of the old guard, but this kind of change is the kind of change that will add to, not take away from or make it stale. Am I right?
Well, I don't know if this question is open to any one of us.
Yes,
but I think
it's open.
Yes, obviously, some.
It's a good kind of change.
Some change. Yes, some is good. It shows. Like some people may not like load management, but it's a good change for some of the players and their careers and extends the career of the player.
No.
But some people, old school people, I'm not gonna call no names on this.
Yeah, you can call my name because I'm one of them people.
It has a part.
Okay.
It has a part.
Got
you.
you.
But some changes are not so good. Some of them are not so good.
Okay,
because
let me rephrase the question then. With the advent or or implementation of the PPG in soccer, American soccer, right? This MLS. Do you think that would have will change American soccer for the better or for the worse?
I'm going to say for the better.
Exactly.
Again, the game itself.
Yes.
In the not only from the American public perspective, where they want high intensity, high action, a lot of the reward or the satisfaction of whatever that final result is, basket, goal, touchdown, whatever it may be. They want more of that. I'm going to give the example here within the NBA. If it had went off of the same premise in the Eastern Conference, you would have had Milwaukee in the 1 seed. Washington Wizards would have been number 2.
Right.
Boston, Toronto,
Yes.
Miami, Brooklyn, and Atlanta, and then the 76ers.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, I want to represent another side of it.
The 76ers?
Double J
boy.
also can represent this point of view as well, but I'm going to represent it from I'm going to take this position right now, and that is the position of a person that loves the game of soccer and played it and grew up and played and was fortunate to play it in my youth at a quote-unquote high level and brought my sons up in the game. And here's the thing that one experience that I used to tell my sons about soccer that made soccer and makes soccer such a fantastic game. And here's what it is. Scoring one goal in soccer in a match that ends 1-0 or 1-0, as you would say it in America. In soccer parlance, we would say 1-0. A game that ends 1-0 and you score that one goal, that's like scoring 60 points in an NBA game.
Oh, of course.
And so
yeah,
it's the thrill and what scoring goals in soccer means. Why I never liked indoor soccer because soccer match should not end 17-15. So the only concern I have about the Americanization of the game is if we put it on, if we reduce the game to not skill, not understanding the ball movement, and what makes this game fantastic is when you break the other team's defense, or you've got a player that's so skilled up front that he can make that move at the right time and hit the ball, strike it at the right angle, and beat the keeper, and the whole stadium goes insane. And that's the game. We don't want a game where we're playing ping pong and the game now becomes 7-10 on a big pitch. That's not going to be fun for people who grew up watching the game.
Yeah, I got you.
That's the only concern and caveat I would have.
Yeah, I got you. And that's fair. The Pelés and the Freddie Adu's, I wish he was made it because I was a Freddie Adu fan until he just kind of like faded to the background. I haven't heard nothing from him since I first was introduced to the guy. But look, well, let me say it this way, Brother Rich, because I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. It's the degree of difficulty. You understand what I'm saying? I will laud you and applaud you when I see you push a 455-pound boulder up a hill as opposed to pushing a 2-ounce pebble. You don't get no credit for that. I'm with you. But let me say it like this, and why I see it. Again, you all are the experts here, but I saw enough in the article to make me like, it was one of them things like my man Herm would say, and shout out to you, Herm. I know you listen, man. My man Herm. One of them things that make you go, because relative to the interest in the sport in America, compared to load management in the NBA, how many times have we said on this program why we don't have the same interest in watching the NBA like we did when we was growing up? Because of these things. Fans are being cheated in the NBA because this player and that player, I'm not saying players don't deserve rest or whatnot, but if this is the one time for this kid whose family scraped up enough dollars to buy him a ticket to come see you play, you a favorite player, and you don't play that game, that can't be good. On the flip side, the interest in those casual fans in America in regards to soccer, relative to here, these changes will bring them in. In other words, this will make them want to go see it. Whereas on the flip side with the NBA, all the stuff they got going on now, man, you don't watch it like you used to.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
And Jay, you bring up a valid point. And here's why. The concept under these same circumstances, initially I backed off the stance I said earlier that it wouldn't work in the NBA, and instead I actually would completely disagree with what I said prior, and here's why. When you look at this under the same context and lens within the Western Conference, you would see that the 7, 8, and 9 were differed in terms of the seeding by 0.2 percentage points per game, meaning there would be no, hey, we've clinched, we're in no matter what.
Rest the players type of deal?
Yes.
Okay.
You wouldn't be able to rest because, again, no different. It would come down to the very last day. And, again, for those that would assume, well, wait a minute, it's going to put a focal point on scoring and not defense, on contraire, it would put a bigger magnifying glass on defense because the name of the game is to prevent the other team from scoring as much as it is to score yourself.
Gotcha.
So I like the idea. And again, from what I witnessed from one particular evening just a few days ago and watching that bracket completely shift, it went from you're playing a game that's going to be at home, you could stay home this week, or for the next few days, to pack your bags because you're flying across the country now, where it went from 70 and sunny to 32 and snow really quick. And
Okay.
It was just unbelievable to watch that unfold.
Got you. And brother,
last point I'll say, and I know we got to move on from this stuff, but
No, you're
thing I'll
good.
say, and I ask y'all to check the tape on this in the future, is this. Yes, that's a great approach for the American game.
that's all I was saying, Brother Rich. The American game. That's
a great approach for the American game.
Yes.
But here's what happens with it, Jay. We hurt the American game in the end. Here's why. Because this is why America is never able to compete on an international level.
Okay.
Because that is not the game ultimately, and that's not the mentality and the attitude that you go with. That's not how you set up the game.
Okay.
You see? So every time, and that's why America has not had the right coach. America can't put a team. They can't field the team for a whole lot of different reasons.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
But that's one of the things that goes into it, the American approach to the game.
Okay, I got you. I think it's some good. All points on both sides are valid. That's why I brought this up today, because again, we've had this conversation before. We've had soccer discussions before, and throughout it all our discussions, the one thing that kind of jumped out at me was the American soccer it pales in comparison to all of the big dogs. You know what I'm saying? But America's this grand place supposed to be. You know what I mean? So, you know, America, whatever, excels at everything else. Like, why are they so far apart from all the other, you know, soccer, I don't know, things or whatever? When I saw this, I'm like, okay, this is a way to draw people in who otherwise might not have been. All right? And I mean, I know COVID's still jumping off people's some folks are still self-quarantining. I ain't mad at you. So that's all you got to do is watch TV all day, I guess. I don't know. Whereas the American game, you know what, brothers? Let me put it this way. I was talking to a guy one time. It was two guys. One was from Yugoslavia, and the other guy was from Japan, I believe, or one poor Asian continent, or some, I don't know, Bangkok, whatever. We were talking, but they had been here long enough. They had a little bit of English, and we were talking about why American students are so far behind their international counterparts, because in those countries, they say we learn more about America than y'all do about America, and you in America. You get what I'm trying to tell you? So if America wants to catch up or get in the conversation in terms of soccer, because am I wrong? Especially when it comes to the Olympics, then soccer in America is a real big deal. You get what I'm trying to tell you? But then you wonder why they pale in comparison, or they fall short, or you be like, wow, well, they look bad against Uruguay. You know what I'm saying? Them countries you don't ever hear about till you get to the Olympics. I just think that it just like ding ding. I said, man, this might be a good way. I mean, I don't know what the numbers would be, you know, like percentages. You know, it drew 48% or 12%. I'm not going that far with it. I just thought, just on the surface, they're doing something to garner that interest. Whereas, you know, what we got over here that we all, you know, still, you know, discuss and talk about and so on and so forth. But the interest, man, I how many times have I said, I can't even tell you the last time I sat and watched an NBA game from start to finish. Whether it's the load management, whether it's the flopping, whether it's
Right.
I can't.
Right.
But I tell you what, I'm getting ready to start watching soccer if they got it on, because I want to see this action. Because to your point, Double J, soccer to me, in the foundation of it, is still there, Brother Rich. I think in this sense, the onus is still, you still got to work to score, because the folks on the defensive side is going to be working extra harder to stop you from scoring 7. You feel what I'm saying? And it's on soccer by already in and of itself. Even the old guard way is up. My goodness, it ain't nothing to play with. The 90th minute. Are you serious? Man, if I do 90 minutes on the treadmill, I'm done. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. You know what I'm saying? I'm a done deal. So I think all in all, I do. I'm going to start, you know, keeping an eye out now. So when I am here or got the time, I will check out a game or two in America. And you know what, Double J, I might be inclined now to maybe go get me a Columbus Crew ticket or two. You get what I'm saying? Are they in it? I didn't look to see that. Are they in it, the Columbus Crew? Or are they not a part of that? Double J?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, the Columbus Crew. And you know, but the Crew they real big in Columbus, real big. I mean, they're not Buckeye big, of course, but
Very big.
yeah, they real big in Columbus. But you know, too, again, Brother Rich, you know, America is saturated. We got all types of sports. You know what I'm saying? But in a market that's saturated, I think the MLS then came up with a good. They might not surpass hockey even. I don't know. But I think that with this right here, they put themselves well into the conversation. They'll be on. Folks will be discussing them or talking about them a lot more than they have been in the past, and that's the MLS. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, good stuff, fellas. The number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Once again, that number to call is area code 267-687-0026. Excuse me, and the Shot Report is now being powered by none other than Rocket Digital Media. And as always, this is the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. I probably messed that all up right there, but I was in between a hiccup and I don't know what else. Before we move on to this next topic, and we're going to, of course, as I said, discuss Bob Ley, former ESPN host. What was that show he used to host, Brother Rich? Do you remember? He used to do
Outside the Lines.
Outside the Lines. Yeah, that was a darn good one, too, to tell you the truth. Damn, why couldn't I remember that? And I ain't even have a senior moment today, doggone it.
That's why we remember.
Yeah. But he put his former network, well, boss, if you would, put him on blast in regards to the layoffs. And this ain't the first time ESPN done laid some folks off. But again, before we get into all of that, I want to hit you with a did you know? Did you know over the last 15 seasons, only 6 times, I repeat, has a player had 400 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and 100 rush yards in a single game? This is college football we're talking about. Did you all know that? No, you didn't know that, right? I certainly did not. Of those 6 times, my boys, the Miami Hurricanes, Canes quarterback De'Aaron King has done it twice of the 6 times. And the other time was with the Houston Cougars before he transferred to the U. I just wanted to give a shout out in the Did You Know to them Canes. That's my team. Dallas Cowboys, my ascot. Moving right along. Let's get into the Bob Ley thingamajig. Do hickey my Bob. Okay, so again.
So that commercial was brought to us by who? That was brought to
that
us
was brought to you by
Cowboys.
Barbershop J. Hey, Barbershop JJ, baby. You don't know nothing about that, brother. Just slow it down there, young fella. Slow it on down. Former ESPN host Bob Ley. Why am I say Ley? It's a Y there. Why am I saying Lee? Anyway, blasts the mass layoffs. And he said, and I quote, "Enjoy the DIS stock price and your NFL football." Brother Rich, what did he mean by that?
The Disney stock price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what
He talking about the Disney stock price. That was lightweight, kind of slick on Mr. B. Bob's part, wasn't it, though, Brother Rich? Huh? Bob Ley cracking heads. Okay, so let me read a little bit of this article to you. Bob Ley, the former longtime ESPN host and the highly respected face of its investigative journalism group, has laid into the cable channel over its recent mass layoffs. He says, "Trying to remain objective and unemotional as I learn of the ESPN team members laid off today. Not possible. Not as I see countless decades of journalistic experience and expertise jettisoned." That's that old guard we was talking about, Brother Rich. Just when we need it most. In a day and age of technology and technological advances, Bob Ley is saying we need to go, we need to bring some old school back up in this. Y'all done got beside yourself. Just when we need it most were his words. Enjoy the DIS stock price in your NFL football. DIS is, of course, the ticker symbol for ESPN's parent, the Walt Disney Company. Shares in Disney rose about $2 a piece last Thursday. Double J, did you get in on some of that action on the stock market? No? Maybe not? No. Okay. Well, we all know ESPN is the home of pricey property.
Give you some tips.
Yeah, give me some tips, would you? Some stock tips. I'm telling you. Come on, 7, because this playing dice game in the alleyways is getting a little... It's hazardous to my health. You know what I'm saying? Help your boy out. You know what I'm saying? The ESPN, of course, is the home of pricey property Monday Night Football. Disney is also expected to make a play for TV's top-rated program, Sunday Night Football. Double J, let me ask you, you think that Disney will be able to pull that off? Think they'll be able to buy Sunday Night Football?
Well,
And they only, of course, when the
money
NBC
talks.
rights. Yeah, well, okay, well, I guess that answers that. The day in the market Disney is when NBC's rights expire. I don't know when NBC's rights expire, but I guess it's sometime soon because Disney is lurking. Should the Walt Disney Company acquire those rights, it is likely the primetime Sunday football would air on broadcast network ABC and not ESPN. Brother Rich, you think that's a big deal? Are
Very
NFL
big
NFL games
Very
better on ABC? You think than they would be ESPN?
Well, ABC, they need that. They need the eyeball. All these networks are crashing. That Disney, the parent company, they're trying to buoy and bolster their stock price by making an acquisition of what is the last bastion of American sports that people still believe in, and that's the NFL. They continue to hold their ratings in the majority of the market, and no matter what, they continue to wave sales through. So that's the last pretty girl at the dance right now. So everybody wants to go home with her.
Okay, got you. Earlier on Thursday, ESPN boss Jimmy Pitaro, Pitaro, revealed to staff that the company was laying off 300 employees and revoking 200 open positions. The Wrap acquired, I guess is the media outlet, acquired Pitaro's memo. And I guess you can read it if you go to Yahoo. Yeah, you can read it, Pitaro's memo, if you go to Yahoo, yahoo.com entertainment. Pitaro explained that the layoffs are an effort to shift more resources towards ESPN direct-to-consumer business strategy, digital content, and quote-unquote continued innovative television experiences. Double J, you buying that?
Yep.
What about you, Brother Rich? You buying that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Prior to the pandemic, we had been deeply engaged in strategizing how best to position ESPN for future success amidst tremendous disruption in how fans consume sports. So let me ask you, Brother Rich, and of course you too, Double J, how fans consume sports. With the advent of COVID, if I'm saying that right, do you think we will have to see more of a shift in digitized fan interaction as opposed to actual interaction? Even if there's a cure or whatever the case may be for COVID.
Well, I don't think that COVID had much to do with this. COVID just accelerated what was already going on. People have been cutting away. People have been moving away from what is called old legacy media and these platforms.
Gotcha.
People have been, the younger generation, most of them don't even know what ESPN is. They don't even tune into anything called ESPN, much less CNN or NBC.
Yeah.
They don't even watch. My children's generation,
they streaming.
Your sons are probably the same way in the Dallas school system. They probably don't even watch TV like that. They are always on their phone. So the only way they exchange with each other is through TikTok or through these different platforms, so they'll get a snippet of this, a snippet of that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting because, you know, now that you say that, Brother Rich, my children, they don't watch much TV. I was kind of instilled that in them anyway. But now that they're older on their own, matter of fact, my 12-year-old daughter, she was like, Dad, ain't nothing on. And then she asked me after that if I wanted to play dolls with her. No, ma'am, I love you, but no, not going to have me messing around with Ken. He ain't got no doggone clothes on. Save it. The pandemic's significant impact on our business clearly accelerated those forward-looking discussions. In the short term, we enacted various steps like executive and talent salary reductions, furloughs, and budget cuts. And we implemented innovative operations and production approaches, all in an effort to weather the COVID storm. We have, however, reached an inflection point. The speed at which change is occurring requires great urgency, and we must now deliver on serving sports fans in a myriad of new ways. Placing resources in support of our direct-to-consumer business strategy, digital and, of course, continued innovative television experiences is more critical than ever. Do you agree with that, Brother Rich? It's more critical than ever?
Absolutely.
The innovative television experience is more critical than ever?
Absolutely, because they have to find ways to reach their audience. Nobody's buying a cable package and turning to ESPN anymore.
Right.
Nobody
right.
believes that anymore. People are tired of that. Yeah.
But here's the deal, though. You mentioned the kids, and I asked you that because you mentioned the kids. Now, this my sons in them's generation, even though they on their phones, I don't even think if TV was, and it is offered, you can watch TV on your phone. They don't even do it on their phones. So how are you going to reach them?
Fact.
You feel what I'm saying?
Well, that's why they need, but that's exactly why they're trying to draw in eyeballs. Let me pull NFL. Let me see if we get the NFL. We pull that, and then people watch ESPN on their phone, because if you're into football and you didn't watch it on your phone before, now that you got to watch it on your, like you at work, me at on the studio set, Jay at Wall Street, wherever we're interacting with people, and we say, oh, let me see what's going on with the game, and we pull up our phone and we watch what's happening. You know, a couple of minutes of the NBA game I caught it on ESPN's app on the phone. You know,
okay.
And so, that's the kind of way that they're trying to engage us, engage different eyeballs. You said it earlier, Jay, because you talked about how now they make the story, you know, and then the game.
The storyline creates the game,
was
right?
The story, but now, and that's what they're able to do. So if ESPN can create the storyline around the NFL, around around the LeBron, around that, and get the LeBronites, and you got Shannon on TV pushing LeBron, and this one pushing LeBron, and that one. So if they can get any little snippet in through on TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, and get themselves trending, if you will, and get people to get their app, or that's all they say they need. That's all they need. Just a little click here or click there, and they can sell some more subscribers and sell some more advertisers.
Gotcha.
That's why they're monopolizing everything. They got to have everything. They need everything, because they're drowning, and like a drowning man or woman, you're grasping at
yes,
straw.
got
And that's
you.
literally what they're doing.
They're grasping. Yeah. Got you. You know, and to your point, Brother Rich, and again, as I sit here and think about it with my children especially, that might be a tough sell, because it might. That might be a tough sell. Double J, how old you got? I mean, your children? You know, are they into the phones and things like that to that extent? Do they really watch the game? You know, American sports or whatever, or NBA or whatnot? I know your son is into soccer big time, but outside of that, is he interested in NBA basketball like that?
Well, where there's a what I would call a large shift in the way that media and content is not only consumed, but additionally what is generating interest. We've reached a day and age when it comes to Gen Z that not only is what used to excite us of, hey, I have tickets to this game, let's go, we're going to go sit close. That's not garnering, that's not enough anymore.
Okay.
They're at a stage where they're growing up on watching other people play a particular game, all the way down to kids playing with other kids, playing toys, or with particular toys. So being able to just go and see a live sporting event it's almost that's it.
Yeah, like what?
Notion or experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is why you're seeing when it came to, for example, as Brother Rich has pointed out on multiple occasions, why so much was poured into that SoFi Stadium beyond just that large QLED screen.
Got you.
The whole experience had to be revitalized and almost reimagined.
Got you. Okay, that makes complete sense. That's why these stadiums look futuristic. I mean, beyond futuristic. Okay.
You can stand, if you're standing on a certain part of this, if you could do that, stand on a certain part of the street. The stadium is so interesting. I'm sure they're showing it on television and showing models. It's so interesting. If you could stand on a certain part of the street, you could literally look down in the game and see the field from the street, from the literal road, the main thoroughfare.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's exactly like Double J said, it's not even about the game anymore. It's about the experience. You can see the big screen and they have monitors all outside. It's crazy.
Gotcha.
Crazy.
So the game itself then took a back seat to the experience. And then Pitaro finishes by saying, he told staff, told staff, ESPN has overcome tremendous challenges and adversity over these past several months, and that the job eliminations were not made lightly. I doubt that. Anyway, they are, however, necessary, and I am convinced that we will move forward and effectively navigate this unprecedented disruption. So, I say all that to say, like the 8-track, is ESPN about to be done, Brother Rich?
I certainly believe that.
Yeah.
When your number one personality is Stephen A. Smith, and all he's known for being a clown, a buffoon, good guy, but the role he's forced to play is that he's the guy who's known for saying stay off the weed, and you're having all of these different talking heads who are consistently, mind you, proven wrong, consistently. You have analysts who most of them sound like they are corporatists. They're just, all of them are repeating the same corporate line. How long can that? You certainly can't draw on your children. Certainly can't draw on that generation. Intelligent people don't want to deal with that. And our young people are far more intelligent than we give them credit for. And so while we tolerated some of that in our generation, they're not going to tolerate that for a moment.
Boy, oh boy. Maybe I'm jumping out the plane at 50,000 feet even asking this next question. And this is the last one for today. Good stuff as always, fellas. But will we get to the point? You know that you watch the NFL on Fox. I don't know how they could do it, but I'm just, again, jumping out the plane here. That little robot guy that comes on when the pregame show, you see him in the little promos or whatever it is. Are we getting to that point? Will sports get to that point where we just don't?
We're already there.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
we're already there. You used to say it to us.
Yeah.
We all had to, was forced to accept it. You called it the Today BA. It got so bad, they literally produced a Disney show for us. And everybody
yeah.
And they told us that this team was idle. They produced it in Disneyland. It wasn't a joke. They literally took it right to Disneyland and produced the show. With background actors and stage. And, and we all brought this.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff, Brother Rich. You say it was cartoonish, huh? Man, good. Oh, boy.
Hey, come on, man. Let's keep it real. Can you get more cartoonish? Look, and I'm gonna close this my little thing out like this. Double J pointed it out to us several weeks ago. We point out other good programs if it's a good program. And Double J asked us to listen to the Whistleblower podcast. He says it on the Whistleblower podcast. The man, the FBI agent who investigated the NBA, said that the NBA is the WWE. He said an FBI agent who investigated it said that, and that they were about to be exposed as being the WWE. That's what they are. It's produced programming and entertainment.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I didn't say it. The referee said it, and the FBI who investigated them said it.
Yeah.
So when you ask us about the TZBA, and when you ask us about Disney, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And again.
Oh, what were you saying? Oh, I seem to have lost.
No. I was just saying, and so again, it speaks for itself again and again.
Again
and again. They're telling us who they are. Yes. And the famous thing is when a person tells you who they are, believe them.
No stuff. That's for darn sure. Fellas, as always, man, this was good stuff, great stuff. I thought Gully was going to join us, but it's all good. Like all conversations, man, oh boy, look at the time type of deal, right? And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on Spreaker.com. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, and, of course, now iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and give us a follow. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel or hop on over to the shop's Facebook fan page. And if that don't work, Google it. For my mans, Be Rich, Double J, and all those who follow and support us, we say thank you. And lastly, I'd like to remind you all that we, of course, are now the Shop Report that is being powered by none other than Rocket Digital Media. It's the one-stop shop for all your digital marketing needs. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!